India is racing to save 41 men trapped in a highway tunnel. Authorities say the trapped men are close to being rescued after removing a lattice steel girder arch that slowed progress overnight. Rescuers had initially expected to break through early on Thursday, as only the last third of the debris blocking the tunnel remained to be drilled through before an evacuation pipe could be pushed in and the men pulled to safety. The men have been stuck in the 4.5-kilometer tunnel in Uttarakhand state for 11 days since it caved in early this month. It's not clear what forced the tunnel to collapse, but the region is prone to landslides, earthquakes, and floods.
But I am happy to tell you that the entire steel which was obstructing the free movement of the pipe inside has now been removed.
At the moment, it's like we're there, we're knocking. Yeah. We know the guys are on the other side, but we can't get in. So I'm just going to go have a look and see what's happening.
North Korea said it would deploy stronger armed forces and new weapons on its border with South Korea a day after Seoul suspended part of a 28 military accord between the two Koreas in a protest over Pyongyang's launch of a spy satellite. North Korea's defense ministry said in a statement that it would restore all military measures it had halted under the deal with South Korea, which was designed to de-escalate tension along their shared border. It comes as South Korea suspended part of the inter-Korean deal in response to Pyongyang's launch and said it would immediately step up surveillance along the heavily fortified border with the North. South Korea's Defense Minister Shin Won-sik attended a parliamentary session of the National Defense Committee and said the North Korean satellite was believed to have entered orbit, but would take 3 to 4 days to assess whether it was operating normally. It appears Dutch anti-EU far-right populist Geert Wilders is set for a major poll victory after Wednesday's parliamentary elections. Beating all predictions, the exit poll shows Mr. Wilders' Freedom Party won 35 out of 150 seats and 10 seats ahead of the closest rival, former EU Commissioner Frans Timmermans. Exit polls are generally reliable, with a margin of error of roughly 2 seats. In a victory speech, Mr. Wilders vowed to bring an end to a tsunami of asylum and immigration.
That it would be that huge was indeed also surprising for me, but a very pleasant result, of course. By far the largest party in the Dutch political establishment. So I'm very proud. At the same time, it comes with a lot of responsibility. People expect our agenda of hope, tougher asylum and immigration policy, the people getting more money to pay for their utilities and groceries. I think that people would not understand and not accept either that if the biggest winner of the elections would not have an important role in that coalition. So we all have to be reasonable, we have to be responsible, and we have to compromise on many issues to make sure that those votes are getting worth their money.
Nigerian residents in the UAE say they are losing hope in the federal government to resolve the diplomatic row between both nations and are renewing their calls for action. This comes after Aviation Minister Festus Keyam's recent tweet re-echoing a 2-month-old promise made by the presidency that flights between both countries will resume. This next report has more.
Over 2 months since President Tinubu's visit to the United Arab Emirates capital, and despite the promises that all issues between both nations have been resolved, there's yet to be any improvement in the day-to-day realities of Nigerian residents caught in the mix. Instead, more promises are being made. Minister of Aviation Festus Keyamo, in a tweet, reaffirms that talks are still ongoing regarding Emirates flights to Nigeria, adding that the airline will soon, quote, announce the exact date of their resumption of flights, a message which has drawn varied reactions and calls for more action than words.
With a pinch of salt, because we have seen and heard such assurances are coming more often recently. And it seems the Nigerian government, under the leadership of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, they don't feel the pulse of Nigerian citizens living, working in UAE.
Conducting business in the Middle Eastern country as a Nigerian passport holder comes with unique challenges. Several investors who spoke to Channels Television anonymously say they are now moving their businesses out of the country. The same is happening with skilled workers.
The issue persists the next year. There'll be a mass movement of people because those of us that even have visa now, many people, their visa will finish 2024. And when that happens, we just hope it will not be a situation whereby Nigerian government will be sending plane for repatriation again. And that is why they need to finish this issue as soon as possible and make sure that Nigerians living, working in UAE can get work permits.
Demand for second citizenship by Nigerian residents has also increased in the last year.
We've seen thousands of applications for second citizenship from Nigerians based in Dubai, and hundreds of them have come aboard different programs. The truth is that there's no trust among Nigerians in government officials and a lot of the information coming from the Nigerian government. For many of them, they're not able to actively participate in trade. Over $1.6 billion of trade was done between Nigeria and the UAE between 2021 and 2022. But a lot of that has reduced down with a lot of people afraid to go about their business. A lot of people are afraid because they cannot come into the UAE to do their business and meet with their partners.
As the new year draws ever closer, Nigerian residents in the United Arab Emirates will be on the lookout to see if the Nigerian government can indeed deliver on its promises. From Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, Maya Wadeguke for Channels Television News.
Over in the United States of America, where New York Governor Kathy Hochul says preliminary investigation has found no indication of a terrorist attack in an explosion on the Rainbow Bridge linking Canada with the United States near Niagara Falls. According to officials, a vehicle exploded on Wednesday morning on the bridge linking Canada with the United States, prompting authorities to close the border crossing and 3 others between western New York and southern Ontario. The vehicle's driver and a passenger were killed in the explosion, and 1 U.S. Customs and Border Protection officer was also injured.
At this time, there is no indication of a terrorist attack. Let me repeat that. At this time, there is no indication of a terrorist-involved attack here at the Rainbow Bridge in Western New York. At 11:27 this morning, a car going at a very high rate of speed crashed into a median at Niagara Street, just minutes from here. It's in the city of Niagara Falls, near one of the border crossings into Canada, the Rainbow Bridge. There are 4 border crossings here in Western New York. This is one of the busiest crossings, not just in Western New York, but along the entire U.S.-Canadian border. And it happens on the busiest travel day of the year. So naturally, in a time of heightened alert, everyone's spring into action. It crashed into a Customs and Border Patrol booth, and the car and the booth immediately exploded. Burst into flames. I saw the video of an airborne vehicle that was absolutely surreal.
Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Maria Bird joins us now for more. Hi, Maria. Bring us up to speed as regards to the explosion at the U.S.-Canada border.
Good evening. Yes, this explosion was extremely unexpected. As you all noted earlier, this was the busiest travel day of the year in the United States. right here before the Thanksgiving holiday. And so it's unclear as to why someone would be going at those type of speeds on that time of the year. But obviously, we've been able to be clear that there was no terror indications. Obviously, there's still further investigation, but from a preliminary review, there was nothing of terror nature that was the reason for those type of speeds that caused the crash.
And Maria, we understand authorities ruled out terrorism threats, indicating that no evidence points to an act of terror. Work through what the U.S. led to that initial assumption.
Well, when the U.S. was looking to see what was carried by the individual, were there any explosives? Was it anything that in the vehicle that would have shown signs that they were looking to plan some sort of attack between the two countries right there at the border? And nothing indicated that through the investigation. And so that kind of led them to, they obviously investigated the driver to see if he had any types of indicators that he was looking to have some sort of attack. And so through those levels of review, looking into not only the driver, but also what was inside of the vehicle from artillery and things like that. And there was none of that they were able to identify or find.
Okay, well, details surrounding the Rainbow Bridge crash remain sketchy, leaving many to wonder if it was an intentional or accidental incident.
And I think that's really where the investigation is going to go at this point. We know that it's been turned over to the U.S. FBI and that it will be investigated by the Niagara Falls Police Unit in that area. And so they will begin to look at that because, as you stated, the speeds that individual was going right there at the border. We all know everyone has to slow down. There's a lot of checks at the border. So that would not be an indicator that someone would have been obviously just accidentally going at those speeds at that type of a border situation.
Maria, what are eyewitnesses or residents around the area saying about the incident?
Eyewitnesses, I think, were very astonished and shocked as to what was occurring because, as we know, right there, Canada, Niagara Falls, that's not an area where you normally see these type of attacks or even illegal crossing at that border area. It's pretty much typically a very safe area, typically an area where people go back and forth all the time. Some people go back and forth almost every day. And so it's typically uneventful border control activities that go on there.
Given the initial security scare and closure of U.S.-Canadian border crossings, what steps are authorities taking to investigate the incident on the Rainbow Bridge? And are there additional security measures being implemented at other border crossings as a result?
Well, they will likely put some sort of speed control measures there. They will look to see what are some of the reasons for that through the investigation. And then furthermore, they will begin to put those measures in place that will obviously deter the speed limit and for people that are trying to do anything that would cause this type of catastrophe again. But because of not finding any explosive, no signs of a terror attack, I think it will be just increased measures around security around speed and ensuring that people are fully aware of what the measures they should take when they are attempting and beginning to cross the border. And to also have police on both sides making sure that they're monitoring the individuals prior to them approaching those border lines.
Okay, and with the Rainbow Bridge remaining closed and other crossings on heightened alert status, how is this incident impacting holidays?
It will likely impact some holiday. Typically in the U.S., the holiday travel is pretty much ending by the end of Wednesday. And so today is pretty much of a settled day. The question will be when we get to Saturday and Sunday, if there will still be closures and what will be the measures for security as people are traveling back home.
Great. Thanks so very much, Maria. Appreciate you. Quick stories from Africa now. In South Africa, opposition leader Julius Malema and 5 other MPs from his Economic Freedom Fighters Party have been punished with a 1-month suspension without pay from Parliament. The Parliament's Powers and Privileges Committee found them guilty of contempt of Parliament for storming the stage during President Cyril Ramaphosa's State of the Nation address back in February. The committee mandates the EFF members to also make an apology in person in the House to the president, the speaker, and citizens for disrupting the president's address and putting the country in a bad light. The suspension of the 6 MPs will run during the whole month of February next year, meaning that Mr. Malema and the other 5 MPs will be blocked from attending the president's next State of the Nation address, which is due in that month. On Monday, the EFF MPs refused to participate in the hearing against them after the committee declined their request for postponement. Statistics South Africa says transport inflation almost doubled in October, driven up by increase in fuel prices. The price of 95-octane petrol rose to 25 rands and 68 cents a liter, the second highest price for petrol ever. Higher food prices were another big contributor to the jump in consumer price inflation in October. CPI, which measures the monthly changes in prices for a range of consumer products, increased for a third consecutive month. It now sits at 5.9%, up from 5.4% in September. Stats SA's Patrick Kelly said that a total of 4 categories drove up prices.
Transport inflation quickened to 7.4% from 4.2% in September. The rise was mainly due to a 6.5% monthly increase in the fuel price, taking the annual rate to 11.2% from 1.5% in September. The price of inland 95-octane petrol rose to its second highest level ever, 25 Rand 68 cents per litre, from 24 Rand and 54 cents a litre in September. Vehicle inflation eased to 7.8% from 8.4% in September. Restaurants and hotels registered an annual price rise of 6.3%. Menu prices are 6.4% higher than this time last year, and hotel rates increased by 9.7% between September and October, taking the annual rate to 6.1%.
Of Congo's military says it will punish any soldier that is in contact with a largely Hutu rebel group linked to the 1994 Rwandan genocide. The army says anyone, regardless of rank, who broke the ban on dealing with the FDLR militia would be arrested. This announcement follows pressure from the United States on both Congo and Rwanda to lessen tension between themselves. Rwanda is widely believed to have set up the Tutsi-led M23 rebel group to counter the FDLR Rwandan authorities, who have always denied allegations of supporting the group. And in Ethiopia, more than 50 people have died in northern Tigray and Amhara regions due to drought-induced hunger. According to Tigray's Disaster Risk Management Office, 46 displaced people died after having already left their homes because of drought. In the neighboring Amhara area of Wag Hemra, at least 6 people and 4,000 cattle have died because of food shortages prompted by drought. For more than 5 months, the U.S. and the UN had suspended food aid to Ethiopia following allegations of massive theft. This has exacerbated the humanitarian crisis in the country, where war and extreme weather events had left millions dependent on aid. Cameroon has received its first shipment of Mosquirix malaria vaccines manufactured by British drug maker GSK plc as the nation struggles with the mosquito-borne disease that kills more than 600,000 each year globally. A batch of 331,200 doses of the vaccine, also known as RTSs, was offloaded at Yaoundé's Nimalin International Airport, making Cameroon the first African country to receive the vaccine after pilot programs in Ghana, Kenya, and Malawi. The health ministry says the initial consignment of vaccines will go to 42 out of 203 health districts in the country. Malaria remains one of Africa's deadliest diseases, according to the World Health Organization, killing nearly 500,000 children under the age of 5.
Cameroon is one of 11 countries in Africa which has a very high burden of malaria, and that is why we're amongst the first countries being able to receive the vaccine. You must know that every minute, one child under 5 dies from malaria worldwide. So this vaccine is a chance to prevent many deaths and make a step forward in the lives of the children. So thank you so much to all of you, to our donors, to our partners for making this happen, for helping us on this journey. Please stay tuned and see when we vaccinate the first child in Cameroon.
And Nigeria's Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, says that for the first time in the history of Nigeria, young Nigerian tech talents are now exposed to the practical demonstration of artificial intelligence. The minister, who was speaking after a tour of SAIL Innovation Lab in Ikorodu area of Lagos State, also said that through the initiative and in partnership with Awari, AI Nigeria now has a workforce building AI solutions for our own realities.
Steering the artificial intelligence revolution to achieve national goals has been a key part of the digital transformation plan of the Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy. And so to bring this plan to fruition, the ministry is working with SAIL Innovation Lab in the Ikorodu area of Lagos State to train young tech talents in the field. They partner with Awari AI for continuous talent sourcing for the emerging AI industry in Nigeria.
In line with the Honorable Minister's strategy to create jobs, to have economic empowerment in Nigeria. So these people have gone through this training program and now they're fully employed, developing technology that is world-class. And so why are we doing this? A lot of people might have heard about artificial intelligence. It is the most potent, most powerful technology in the world right now. And it's the next step in the human story.
The co-founder of the lab and the senator representing Lagos East says the partnership with Awari AI signals the beginning of a transformative journey in Ikorodu.
Those who know, we didn't start from here. We started from 68 Thos Benson Road. That was where we started, and that used to be my constituency office. We used it for the campaign. One campaign was over. I said, my people, see, let's move aside and reconfigure. And we reconfigured and started. So we started from there, and I'm happy. We have seen some of the first cohort, the first set of people, they have joined us here.
For the Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, this is the first time in the history of Nigeria that we're able to fully harness the benefits of AI.
For the first time in Nigeria, 100 of those people are being hired, and it is here in Ikorodu, but nowhere else. This is not a political rally. We may not understand the meaning of this, but it is extremely significant because the future that we all want to protect, the future that we want for our kids, we can only get it when we participate in the development of that future. Today we have decided to start on that journey. They've decided to create a new company with the opportunity. The senator has decided to team up with them to create something special, and we've decided it is going to start in Ikorodu. Ikorodu's name will forever be on the artificial intelligence map, moving forward from here.
As this partnership harmonizes seamlessly, it not only signifies a transformative journey unfolding, but marks an unprecedented chapter where the full benefits of AI are harnessed, propelling the nation into a new era of tech empowerment and economic growth.
What's Thanksgiving without a turkey? Well, U.S. troops stationed in South Korea are not missing out on the occasion as they celebrated the Thanksgiving holiday with a traditional festive meal. Roasted turkey and pumpkin pies were prepared for the hundreds of soldiers at Camp Casey in Dongducheon, one of several U.S. Army bases near the demilitarized zone. Higher-ranking Army officers served the Thanksgiving meal to soldiers thousands of miles away from home. According to data from the U.S. Forces Korea, about 19,500 Army soldiers, 7,800 airmen and women 350 Navy sailors and 120 Marines are stationed in South Korea.
Being away from home, celebrating Thanksgiving, so it is different, but I find it's pretty cool. I'll be here next year for Thanksgiving as well, and it's something to remember for sure for my future kids and the family down the line.
I miss them a lot, and definitely celebrating Thanksgiving without them is really hard, but only a few months left, so, and happy Thanksgiving.
Today we are celebrating a Thanksgiving meal. So this is a very special meal of the year for us 9-2 Golfs, because it's the time that we show up our skills, prepare meals for the soldiers that weren't able to make it home.
And it's a lucky day for 2 turkeys as they escaped being slaughtered and grilled in the oven. You're probably wondering how, but U.S. President Joe Biden pardoned 2 enormous white-plumed turkeys from Minnesota. He granted both turkeys freedom from Thanksgiving dinner tables. One turkey, named Liberty, weighed in at 42.5 pounds, while the other, Belle, weighed 42.1 pounds. They were raised in Wilmer, Minnesota, under the direction of the National Turkey Federation. The turkeys will retire to the University of Minnesota's College of Food, Agricultural, and Natural Resource Sciences in St. Paul.
This is the 76th anniversary of this event. And I want you to know I wasn't there in the first one. I was too young to make it up. They had to work hard to show patience and be willing to travel over 1,000 miles. You could say even this harder than getting a ticket to the Renaissance tour or Brittany's tour. She's down in, it's kind of warm in Brazil right now.
Brings us to the end of The World Today with me, Susan Ilian. Be sure you tune in tomorrow, same time. See you then.